Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're ready for takeoff.
Show me the cash.
Show me the cash.
Your flight on flying to the Philippines is now boarding. Please ask the passenger next to you if he paid more for his tickets than you did.
After 40 years of traveling for business and leisure, some of my advice. 58.17 pesos to the U.S. dollar, a new high this year. Air prices are down. The Chinese airlines are starting to fly to the Philippines again. The Quick Start Guide, what you need to get right before you come to the Philippines, how to get your flight for a good price, where to stay, what's easy, what's difficult, what mistakes you shouldn't make. Stay tuned. Here we go. Money and a honey. Make the right moves to make your first days in the Philippines pay off. Today, the peso hit 58.17. It hasn't been that high except for a few days in 2022. And what it means if you're in the Philippines. For me personally, I pay my rent in U.S. dollars. I paid $900 in February. This coming month, it's only $860. It's a $40 savings just based on the value of the dollar. What are the fundamentals you want to get right? Do not bring $2,000, $3,000 U.S. dollars with you. Bring $200 hidden away somewhere in your luggage. Bring $100 to carry around with you with your cell phone, 2 ATM cards and 1 credit card. You want an ATM card that doesn't charge foreign transaction fees. I recommend Schwab. They refund your ATM fees 3 times a month, and you're going to get your best money out of the ATMs. The ATMs that say Bank of the Philippines or BDO Bank. Never use one of these convenience ATMs. I always recommend that you spend $4 or $5 and get an eSIM so that when the wheels touch down, you have some data. Not data to make phone calls or data to call landlines, but data to use on Grab, which is the Uber here in the Philippines, data to send messages on WhatsApp, data to send messages on Messenger. Once you get here in the Philippines, you will have a SIM card. You will purchase for 30 days. Don't pay $10 a day because you can use your T-Mobile and all that. You can swap in that T-Mobile once or twice or 3 times while you're here and pay the $10. But buy a local SIM card. It's going to cost about $7. You'll be good to go. If you're coming for longer term, what I did was I used a company called Tello. It's a cellular company. I ported my regular phone number over. I pay $5.95 a month. And I have my original phone number, and I carry that SIM card with me in my wallet. And 2 or 3 times a month, or whenever I want to call my kids in America, or if I want to call a client on their local landline in America, their local cell phone, I just pop that SIM card in, and I can make unlimited phone calls, and I can make I can receive OTP codes from Social Security, from Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Charles Schwab, PayPal, Remitly, Wise. Everybody. That's the solution I recommend. Now, let's start talking about airfare. So let's just take a look at some airfare from the West. New York City, JFK to Manila. We picked a date in July 17th, just for an example. And you can fly for $656 one way. Not too bad, the connections. You can see here the flight. Here's another option for $773. You can stop in Saudi Arabia and decompress, enjoy a luxury hotel for not too much money, and spend a day and kind of get your health back before you come and proceed to Manila. Here's a flight on Qatar Air where you're going to stop in Doha. It's a little over $1,000, a quality airline. Round trip. We have nonstop flights now. Round trip, $1,419 US. LAX to Manila, a little over 14 hours in the air. I recommend you eliminate all carbohydrates a day or two. If you can, 4 or 5 days before flying. No grains, no vegetable oil, no sugar. Get rid of all the inflammation in your body. It's a long flight. I also recommend you wear a pair of support hose, the kind nurses wear when they work 12-hour shifts, so that the blood doesn't clot in your legs. If you fall asleep for a long period of time, you may be in that seat for 6, 8, 10 hours without moving. You don't want to get any thrombosis in your leg. It's $20, Amazon.com. Now, what about flying around the Philippines when you get here? It is really reasonable. If you book out a month in advance, I live in Cagayan de Oro, and I'm going to be flying to Iloilo, breaking news. And you can get a flight one way for 1,325 pesos, which is $22.80. Now, if you want a seat and you want to bring extra luggage on, it's going to cost a little bit more, but that's what it costs if you book in advance. Now, if you book last minute, you might pay $40. What about if you're in Manila? And I want to talk to you more about Manila in a second, but if you're in Manila and you want to fly to El Nido, well, you pick a date in July or June 26th, and it's 4,083 pesos, which is about $80 roughly. If you want to book from Manila to Bangkok on July 30th of this year, 2024, it's going to cost 3,713 pesos, and that comes to $63 and change. Now, let me talk to you about flying into Manila versus Cebu City. There's a lot of vloggers out there, and everybody's got their own point of view. Cebu City is attractive because there are a lot of call centers and men looking to meet younger English-speaking girls are attracted to Cebu City because a lot of the girls they might meet online are from there, and it's not as crazy as Manila, but it's a big city and the traffic is horrible. It's a great jumping off point if you want to take ferries to Bohol or ferries to Dumaguete. Personally, I prefer to fly to Manila. Now, Manila is crazy and the traffic's horrible, blah, 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 but the truth is, Makati is like the Beverly Hills of the Philippines. It's very first world. It's full of international tourists and wealthy foreigners who own condos and wealthy Filipinas, beautiful Filipino women, mall after mall with Louis Vuitton stores and unbelievable restaurants that are half or one-third of the price of restaurants in your hometown. And it's only 10 minutes by taxi, and it costs about $6. You walk out the terminal, you go to the kiosk, he gives you a piece of paper, you give it to the taxi driver, he turns on the meter, he drives you 8 to 10 minutes, whoosh, you're in Makati, you're up on the 30th floor. A year ago, I paid $125 for this condo I'll show you here, and right now you can get it for around $75 US. I don't know why it's so much cheaper, but the demand or the more properties on the market, but it is a real steal. And for me, what I would prefer to do from Terminal 3 in NAIA, I would walk up to the third floor, I'd cross on the Sky Bridge, and I would either spend one night in the Belmont Hotel, which is right across from the Sky Bridge, or I'd go 100 meters down the cracked sidewalk in front of the sketchy 7-Eleven, and I'd go up the luxury condos on Newport Boulevard for $40, $45 and get one night by myself, get myself together before I meet anybody. And I would fly that Filipina in to meet me and vacation with me in Makati. Or I would get some rest and not risk getting a connecting flight, and I would fly directly to Dumaguete, or I'd fly directly to Palawan, I'd fly directly to Mindanao. I'd take a nonstop flight the very next morning, and I'd be on my way. But I think if you've never been to Asia, it would be much better to start in Tokyo, where everything's all organized, or Korea, where they're very efficient, even mainland China, where it's very modern. You're coming to Cambodia, Laos, it's going to be insane. You come into the Philippines for the first time, and you're going to see noise, and you're going to see a fair amount of pollution, and the infrastructure is not that good. You don't want to end up in a lousy hotel, a noisy karaoke at midnight. You don't want to do that. You don't want to go rushing right to that hometown of your girl necessarily either. So for me personally, I kind of like the idea of the first night in a cheap condo across from the airport, the second and the third night in a beautiful condo in Makati, where you might have a girl come meet you, where you can kind of get settled in and get your bearings, get your rest, and then another 10-minute ride back to the airport and off you go. Now, if you do fly into Cebu City, there are hotels directly by the airport. You can stay in the Waterfront Hotel. It's a very nice luxury hotel, not too far from the airport. You can take a 15-minute taxi drive and stay in the condo that I stayed in last year in Mocktown, Newtown. Now, Mocktown, Newtown's like this artificial, smaller IT park. I felt very isolated when I was there. Unless you were willing to get in a taxi and fight that 45-minute hour gridlock into Cebu City, you just felt like you were in an isolated, miniature, sanitized version of the Philippines. It's a good place to get some rest and a beautiful pool, beautiful condo. It's an option. You might want to take a day trip from Cebu City down to swim with the whale sharks. Here's a price of what things cost on Klook, which is an application you can download. That's the one I use when I book excursions in the Philippines. Here's an example of what a day trip. If you want to go to El Nido, that's another reason you might want to be in either Cebu City or Manila. They have nonstop flights to El Nido. El Nido's hard to get to. The most backpackers and most people on a budget will fly to Puerto Princesa for very little money, and they'll spend and waste a whole day on just a horrible van ride where the van driver's driving out of control down these crazy roads for 6 hours. You're crammed in there like a sardine. It costs you $16, $17, but you burn a whole day. You could fly nonstop on Air Swift for 4,800 pesos. So like $80 you can, if you book far in advance. Now, if you book last minute, you might pay $150 for that flight. That flight into Puerto Princesa, okay, it's going to be $33, and then you have $17 van ride, but that's not the way to go. You can also fly nonstop on that same airline, Air Swift, from El Nido right to Boracay. So the third most popular tourist destination in the Philippines is Baguio, and Chrissy and I are going there also, announcement. And you can take an overnight sleeper bus that leaves at 2:15 a.m. and you'll pull right into Baguio at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's 1,500 pesos, so like $28 roughly. So those are some of your options if you're wanting to do a little tourism and excursions. If you know a girl, you could travel to see her immediately, but you run the risk that you don't have chemistry. And now you're in her hometown, or you're nearby all her relatives, or you've already, in the first day, you're starting to meet the relatives. If you fly her into Cebu City, or you fly her and bring her on bus Manila, well, you can spend that 2 or 3 nights in Makati. And then if the chemistry really hits and you feel like, wow, this is the one, okay, now fly to go see your parents, meet her family, have a promise ceremony, and then maybe you can travel with her around the Philippines like Chrissy and I did. And now, what does that 58.17 pesos mean to you? It means like just everything is cheaper. When I first got to the Philippines and I used my Charles Schwab card at the ATMs, what I do is I transfer like $1,000 at a time from my regular bank. I lock my regular debit card, my regular credit card, my passport in the safe in the hotel room or the safe behind the front desk at the hotel. And then in my wallet, I have a credit card, I have my travel insurance, and I use a company called Safety Wing for my travel insurance. It depends on your age. For me, it was about $5 a day. It's travel and medical and accident insurance. I highly recommend it. And that's what I leave the house with. And I have a 1,000 peso note, a little blue 1,000 peso note hidden away here. So I have 1,000 pesos in cash. If I know I'm going to be using cash, because the Philippines is a cash economy, I'll stick a little money clip in my pocket, and that's it. I just have my cell phone and a money clip. I've got a photo of my passport. I've got a photo of everything I might possibly need. I take photos of all my reservations, and I use a program called Tripit that is it reads my email. So every time I reserve an airline, I reserve a ferry, I reserve an Airbnb, a hotel, a bus, I receive a confirmation email, and Tripit will automatically, and you can see I'm going to Iloilo, it will automatically read my email and create an itinerary. It just builds it automatically. There's a free version. I use the free version. There's another program here called Rome to Rio, and this is a really valuable program. You basically just put in point A and point B. It works in Italy. It works in the United States. It works in the Philippines. You put in point A and B, and it's going to tell you the recommended way to get there. In this case, flying. How long it takes to drive if you have your own car. It'll tell you how long a taxi takes to drive and what the cost of the taxi should be. In the Philippines, as long as the taxi is on the meter, you're good to go. You don't have to worry. I mean, he may drive the long way, but it's so cheap. It's so cheap that you don't have to really worry. And the trikes and the tuk-tuk drivers and the baja drivers, they're very, very, very honest. They work for 20 pesos or 40 cents, 35 cent rides all day long. They're not getting rich on one person. They're not trying to gouge a foreigner. And so, just be on the meter, always be on the meter with the taxi, and always you can trust the trikes and the baja drivers 99% of the time. You can rent a taxi here in Cagayan de Oro in Mindanao. Here's my taxi driver, Joseph. If you come to CDO, call him up. He'll take you where you want to go on the meter. He'll pick you up. But he will also rent you his taxi for the entire day for 3,500 pesos. And that comes to $60.21. That's sort of the going rate in the Mindanao area, Cagayan de Oro. Now, when he takes us up on these mountain excursions that we've showed you previously, he's going to charge a premium because it's a lot of wear and tear on the taxi and a lot of gas going up these mountain roads with 3 or 4 expats in the car, much bigger people than normal. You can rent a car here in the Philippines for roughly 1,500 pesos per day, $25.80. And if you're in Cagayan de Oro, we have a person, you can email us. You're allowed to drive for the first 90 days. Every time you enter the country, you get another 90 days on your driver's license. After 90 days, you have to get a Filipino driver's license. When you get here, there's going to be a supermarket in the first floor of every mall. Every mall will have a supermarket, but it'll be kind of pricier than normal. In the Philippines, they have these wet markets where vegetables are 1/4 of the price of a supermarket. You can order rotisserie chickens. They will come right to your door. They'll pull them off the spigot and they'll be at your door in 5 minutes. They cost about $6 on average. When you use Grab for food, they mark up the price of the food just a little bit and they charge for delivery. There's another service here in Cagayan de Oro called Maxim, M-A-X-I-M. It's the craziest service you ever heard. These guys are all over town on motorcycles. There's an app, an M-A-X-I-M app, and you can have him go pick up a prescription. You can have him buy ice. He'll buy you beer. He'll buy you a head of lettuce. And he uses his own money. And then he comes to your door on motorcycle and you pay him back. It's an amazing service. It usually comes to like 60 cents or $1 is the fee for the motorcycle. If you meet a girl and you want to meet her, one of the things you might want to do is send her a driver to pick her up. Either you met a local taxi driver, you got his number, you're going to call him up and you're going to say, hey, go pick up Susie at this address at this time, or send a Grab car to pick her up. Otherwise, these girls are notoriously late. Here in the Philippines, people don't use the clock the way we do. If you say, meet me at 6, they might show up at 7, or they may not show up at all. At the end of the day, they're not even sure you're going to be there. They're embarrassed, they're nervous, and they just might ruin your evening and leave you waiting and waiting and waiting. So if you send a car, that's a really good thing to do. I mentioned earlier on one of the other videos, some of the malls, like here in Cagayan de Oro, SM downtown, they have ping pong, they have billiards, they have a shooting range, like a paintball shooting range. They have bowling alley. There's a lot of fun stuff right in the mall. So you can make a date in the mall where you could do some interactivity. There's a movie theater. A lot of these girls will have never seen a movie. Chrissy saw her first movie 2 weeks ago and loved playing ping pong. And it was her first game of billiards. Another week we went down there. She just loves it. Let me mention one other thing. When you come from the United States, you're going to get 30 days automatically. You don't have to do anything. You come off the airplane, you show your passport, they stamp it 30 days. I've been told that there's an immigration office on the 3rd floor of Terminal 3, and before you even leave the airport, you can go pay for a 60-day extension. So you essentially have 90 days. But if you want to stay another 2 months, you're going to just go to a Bureau of Immigration before the 30 days expires, and you're going to pay roughly 3,000 pesos or $55 for your 60-day extension. You don't have to wait till the very last day. You can go anytime during those 30 days to get that extension, and they'll add it onto the back end. They won't cut you short. Don't wear fancy jewelry. Don't overdress. Everybody here, like I'm overdressed right now just to be on YouTube, but everybody here is just wearing t-shirts and shorts, flip-flops. I recommend you bring a black pair of tennis shoes, like a dressy pair of tennis shoes. That'll get you in and out of almost any restaurant. And it'll also, you can go walking 10 miles in them, and you don't have to carry a second or third pair of tennis shoes with you. And I have a PDF. If you haven't already gotten it, it's the 1-year plan. If you're thinking you might want to live here in the Philippines for 6 months a year or come here full time like me, 70 bullet points. It talks to you about all the things in terms of finance and real estate that you need to think about and get organized in your life a year ahead of time. Email me at flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. Flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. I do consultation. It's $50 for the first 90 minutes. And then I have a plan. If you want tech support and you want travel and itinerary planning, I can help you with your hotels, places, and things that you might want to do in terms of excursions, and also dating coaching. With Chrissy's help, we can give you a female perspective. That's all from Fly Me to the Philippines, the Quick Start Guide.